Hello my quilting friends! My name is Leah Day and welcome to this free motion quilting tutorial on swirling hearts. So this design starts with a beautiful swirling stem. This is a specific style of stem that I do in several different tutorials. Swirling feathers and tongue of flames are two designs I can think of straight off the top of my head that use this style of swirly kind of stem. Okay, so once you stitch your stem, you're going to be back at your starting point. Now you're going to build up your hearts. This is swirling hearts. And what's nice is that this is it's almost the same motion as swirling feathers, but you're stitching heart shapes, and I find that maybe just a little bit easier. And I found this easier to stitch going in the opposite direction too, and I'll explain how that works. So I think this is a great skill builder. If feathers are proving difficult for you, then try this design and this may feel easier. So slow and careful travel stitching, and then I'm branching out with a little heart shape. There we go. And then now I'm going to try and branch out with heart shapes, still angling in that nice direction, but technically this is stitching from a different angle. We're going backwards, but then we're angling this way. And this always is a trouble for me whenever I am quilting feathers, which is a reason why a lot of times when I'm stitching a design like this, I will travel, I'll just stitch along this stitching all the way back here, get back to my starting point, and then start again. Well, I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to actually master this angle and get it down pat. So I'm coming out, swirling around, forming that cute heart shape, and then coming back to my stem, swirling out, and you can see that this is going to take up a lot of space. It's going to really easily expand. I'm excited about seeing how this is going to work on the long arm too. As you can see on a small scale, this is a very dainty, very delicate design, and there is a lot of travel stitching involved, definitely. So just go slow and carefully whenever you're stitching along your stem and branching out with your heart shapes. Okay, so that's the basic steps of the design. So how do we branch out and go from there? How do we add another one? You're basically just going to pick a set of hearts to come out through, and you're going to travel stitch along that in order to form the next one. So I'm going to come along this one and then branch out with my swirling stem. This is going to be a very short, very tiny one because I've got a very tiny area to work in. And one last tip, I really like coming and filling in the inner part of that curve first. The reason being, I often find that the feathers or hearts on the outside usually tend to get bigger, and they can sometimes build off of the inner hearts. So that's an interesting thing. So I always, whenever I have that little swirly stem, I always try and fill up the inside of it first, the side that's curling upward in like a cup. I fill that first, okay? And then now I'll go around and I'm going to fill the outside. So little heart off the tip, angle back, little heart filling in that corner. And this is really, I think this is going to be a fun design to stitch as an all-over design. I think it could definitely go in borders. It's not going to be the best design to stitch in really tiny spaces. You know, places like round appliques, like a really intense applique, like a Baltimore album, not a good idea because this is just going to be too complex, too many steps, and it's also really showy. You know, you can see just how much this stands out on this little square. Okay, so now that we have stitched a good bit of it together and we have a good grasp of the rules, let's give it a try on my long arm. So I've switched to the Q-zone hoop frame and I've stitched my first swirl and I'm starting my heart shapes. And I'm going to try and stitch slow and careful all the time. I tend to speed up and have a real dramatic difference between when I'm travel stitching and then when I'm stitching something that doesn't have any travel stitching, you know, forming a new shape. And I think that that is something I need to break. That's a habit I need to break because it's stopping me from having good control. So I'm going to try and maintain a nice steady movement throughout. And this is not too bad. You know, it's mostly just maintaining that concentration and then trying to remember not to speed up so dramatically whenever it feels easy. Okay, so now I'm travel stitching back along the back of that stem, swirling out with my heart shape. Definitely feel like my hearts could be a lot bigger. You know, these are about, about 1.5 inches or so long. There we go. My travel stitching is definitely not perfect. Let's see if I can slow that down and concentrate on it harder. That looks better. I really think if I had the open toe foot on this machine right now, it would be better. I have a ruler foot in place right now and it has a very high lip. And I'm quilting this as a set down, so that high lip of the ruler foot can sometimes get in my way. It can block my vision. So it might be an idea to just change that out for an open toe foot whenever I'm quilting a design like this again. That one was a little bit strangely shaped, but generally I like the flow of this. It is going to be a little bit on the time-consuming side, so if you've got a quilt that's just, you're in a real hurry with it and it needs to get done yesterday, then might be an idea to pick a different design. Open heart, the design that we learned last week, that's going to be a lot faster because it doesn't involve any travel stitching. All right, so travel stitching up and out. I think I'll quilt along the edge of that heart and then swirl out and form my next swirl. Here we go. Going to spiral in and spiral back out, leaving about 1/2 inch, kind of working my way up to 1/2 inch distance between those lines of quilting. That looks good. Now come up and out this way. That was a nicely shaped heart. That looks good. Okay, slow and steady here. You can really see it on that dark green fabric. So I'm going to try and stitch slow and steady. There we go. Let's try and maintain that slow, steady pace. So I form that heart shape. That looks good. Now slow and steady. It's getting right to that point where I can't see the needle because of the ruler foot, so I just kind of have to guess because of where it's positioned and how high that foot is. So yeah, definitely one of those things to keep in mind. The foot that you use can definitely give you some issues, both on a home machine and on a long arm. That's why I like using that nice big open toe foot on my home machine. Gives me great visibility. All right, slow and steady. Keep that slow, steady pace. I think that's really the key to learning control and being able to travel stitch nicely, being able to form really nice shapes. Yeah. All right, now we're going to try, we're kind of doing this the opposite this time from the other one. And that means that I've done the outside feathers, the hearts that are swirling around the outside of the swirl. And then now I'm going to do the inside feathers. This is usually the opposite of the way I like to do it, but hey, it's good to try things up, mix things up, see how it goes, see if that's really the right way of doing it. It's always good to experiment. You don't know how something's going to work out until you experiment, try it a lot of different ways. Nice little heart there. Got kind of a gap down here, so let's see if I can fill that up. No one said that your hearts have to be small and tidy. They can be long and wiggly too. That's perfectly fine. It's just, it's kind of one of those things that you just have to look at your design occasionally and say, well, did you like that effect or do you wish you filled it some other way? And if you wish you filled it some other way, figure out what that is. And that's how you are continually just working on your opinion of the design and how you think it would look better. So that is it for swirling hearts. So that's it for this video. My name is Leah Day, and I hope that you've enjoyed learning how to free motion quilt with me today. If you'd like to learn more about the sewing machines that I used in this video, the Eversewn Sparrow 20 and the Grace Cunique 14 Plus or 15R, come and check them out at leahday.com/machine. I am a sewing machine and long arm dealer, and I would love to help you find a great machine that will help you quilt the quilts the way you want to quilt them. So come and check that out at leahday.com/machine. Until next time, let's go quilt.